Welcome back. This is Patrice for Panasonic Live at IFA 2012. And this segment will be dedicated exclusively to Lumix digital cameras. And therefore, we not only will have our expert Mark with us, but also a professional photographer for Getty Images, well-renowned agency. His name is Dina Mokhtaropoulos. He not only has been at the Olympic Games 2012 in London, he's also about just to make a flight tomorrow over to the Paralympics. So definitely someone who can tell us what it means to be in action and what kind of cameras you should use, or exactly what kind of hints are there to be told to our audience here. So ladies and gentlemen, please, Mark and Dean, join me here on stage now. Welcome to Berlin.
Hello. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Hi, Patrice.
Mark, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I hope Mark is going to be able just to switch from camcorders now to Lumix, which shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
And already I see you there equipped with a G5.
A G5, yes.
I just told our audience you came back pretty much from the Olympic Games.
Yes.
That quit like 2 weeks ago, but you're just about to go back now as the Paralympics are taking place right now.
Yeah. Straight fly back tonight, and then first thing tomorrow, shooting sports again.
So this is not your usual outfit. You were equipped with not only one G5, but how many did you have with you?
I was carrying 4 at the time, and some people say why 4.
Yeah, why 4?
I just make it clear they weren't white either. They were all black.
All of them?
I'm not as flash to have a white camera. But I had 4 cameras, one either side. I had like a special harness thing so I had the 2 long lenses. I had 2 long lenses on either side, and I had 2 short lenses hanging over my neck, mainly because of they're smaller, lighter, easy to carry, and also if something happens, it's as everyone knows, if you're changing lenses all the time, you can miss things. So it's always good just to know exactly what camera you have, and bang, you're ready to go, sort of thing. So it was easy. It took me a couple of days to get used to, but once I got used to the system, it just became instinct, sort of thing, just to see something, know what I'm going to shoot, and then bang, grab the camera and you're off.
So as all the cameras have been black, does it mean that you had to see like the lens, and then you knew exactly, just like with the golf club?
No, it wasn't even that at all. It was more, I knew when I set up in the morning, when I put everything on, I just knew where something was. So as soon as I'd see something, okay, well, that's the 7-14, or this is going to be a fisheye, or this is going to be the 45, or whatever lens it was, because for certain sports you have certain different lenses on there ready to go, sort of thing. So for example, say the athletics, I use the longer lenses, or when I was doing the cross-country horse racing, the show jumping and all that kind of thing, I was using some shorter lenses. So it became instinct after a while.
Wow, but it's good to have you here, because when Mark and I will go through all the Q&As that will come from our audience, of course, then you as an expert, please don't hesitate just to tell us your experience, and then to add some information about it. By the way, all the pictures that you see here behind me on the screen are shot by you. Mm-hmm. How many pictures did you shot, just only for the Olympics right now?
How many I shot in total?
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands. They were very long days. So you're leaving the hotel at 7, 6 if you're doing the marathon, all that kind of stuff. So then you're getting back. Basketball would finish at 11:30. So it's amazingly how much sleep you get during the Olympics. But that's not just me. That's all the TV guys. So did you get at least like a gold medal for it, for that achievement? We don't get anything. No, we get our pictures at the end. That's all. So that's enough. But yeah, all the photographers, all the media that are working at the Olympics work ridiculous amount of hours. So, when I say I was sleeping, between 1 and 4 hours a night, that's not just me. That's all the journalists and most of the journalists and most of the photographers that were there for sure do the same thing. So, and you want to cover as many events as possible. So, in between 2, you'd have to get to the athletics. When Bolt was running his 100 metres, you'd have to get there a bit earlier, obviously, because there's a lot of photographers. From memory, I think there was about 1,700 accredited photographers. One of the chief photographers chief guys told me. So you've got to get into a position early, because there's so many people want to be there, and it's a big event, so everyone wants to be in their ideal position, sort of thing. So it's tough, but what else would you rather do? Well, I know I wouldn't rather do anything else. So yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I don't know which job would have been tougher, just to train just as hard as Bolt, or just trying to get like the perfect position. There's a photographer. I think like both must have been quite harmful to a certain degree.
Well, doing all these different events, there were certain sports where, whether it be, a boxer or a sprinter or whatever it was, you see these people train for a lot of time, and, someone had a false start, like, a 200-meter hurdlist. She's been training for 4 years. She gets up, false start, you're out. And I found that, very a tough thing to see, sort of thing. So a boxer goes out there, lack of concentration for 1 second, gets knocked out, bang, you're out, sort of thing. That kind of thing, I found quite different from my normal sort of running of sports, where you've got another chance to redeem yourself, whereas this is sort of just a one-off thing. So it was a very special couple of weeks for me, definitely.
But what is your favorite sport? I mean, which one would you recommend for a photographer? Just to give it a try.
Every sport has its different,
Horse riding, I believe that horse riding is not going to be as exciting.
You can see here the show jumping. Show jumping makes good pictures. Fencing makes good pictures. Boxing makes good pictures. It depends where you are. It depends on the light that you have available. It depends on what kind of athletes you're dealing with. You can shoot your your son's football match or the local swimming meet. And if it's outside with a nice sunshine, you're going to get amazing pictures if the light's nice. That's what it comes down to, really. What kind of light you've got available.
And about Mark, what as an expert? I mean, he had like 4 G5s with him.
Yes.
Which are the 4 lenses that you would have recommended him to bring with him?
Oh, God. Well, I mean,
and why?
Well, one of them would be the 100 to 300 millimeter lens, because you don't know, as a spectator, you don't know how far you're going to be away from the action. So that will really get you close up with the Lumix. Then again, you probably need a wide-angle lens as well if you want to capture, the stadium or the whole of the action in the Olympics, and I think possibly then a fixed lens such as a 20mm pancake lens. Maybe.
Did you have any of those that you just described?
I had everything.
Okay.
Oh, you had everything.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything I didn't have.
Portraits again for landscapes, and then say maybe a HD video, 14 to 140mm lens specifically for getting some really good video shots. That's what I would probably do.
I definitely want to have his sponsor deal. I mean, he had everything.
Yeah, that would be quite cool.
May I kindly ask how my tablet
Someone says to you, what do you want? What would you like to have?
Would you like everything?
I want one of everything and maybe 2 of these, please. So, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently, really, I really want to have your sponsoring deal. So let's start out with the first
That was just
question.
for the Olympics, though, just to make that clear.
Did you have to give them back afterwards?
I've had to give most of it back, but I'm getting it back for the Paralympics. Hopefully they'll let me keep it later on.
All right, so we got to wait for the first question. If this is not happening, that's why I have my backup cards with me. Okay. As the first one comes by Samuel Tanner. Do I need a different lens for taking raw images?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, that's a quick answer.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It doesn't really matter because like RAW or JPEG, that's the format. But when it comes to the picture itself, I mean, the lens just sends the information through, and then it's up to the body just to make something out of it. Dino Pignalosa would like to know, is there anywhere I can compare what results the individual lenses get? Is there perhaps like a link on the Panasonic side? Is there anywhere I can compare what results the individual lenses get? So it's a question like, is there a way just to be able just to describe, just to see the differences between all the lenses, picture-wise? Is there like a portal, anything, by comparison?
What you mean, a comparison of, say, sample images, you mean?
Yeah. For example, there at the booth, what I saw is that next to the lens, there's always like a picture.
Yes, sorry, I understand the question now. Yeah, we have a website where if you have a Lumix camera, it's called Lumix Lifestyle, and you can visit that on the web where you can actually upload your photographs, and you can then see all the other users that use their photographs in different lenses, different conditions, different subject matter, and obviously, and it'll actually be labelled what camera, what lens, what shutter speed, what light settings, etc. So you can actually compare. We also have an app called the Lumix G app, which I've got.
Also, you brought your own tablet PC with you. Okay, I see.
So here we go. We've got a downloadable app for an iOS device, so the camera can pick that up. So here we've got tips and how to use the camera. So things that we've been talking about, like intelligent
Are there any
auto.
advice by Dean as well integrated?
Not, I believe, on here, but there's no doubt that could probably be fitted in somewhere. But there we've got the new G5, so things such as what it does. So all the things we're covering this week and the rest of the week, everything we're talking about is in here. There's also a subject for lenses as well, so it's quite interactive, so I can move the cameras around, and there's that famous white colour as well. So you can actually see if you're thinking of a future purchase.
How many different colours do you have, by the way, from the G5?
Well, currently there is it's red, white, and silver. So
3 of them.
So 3 of them at the moment, yeah. And then
and black, so 4.
And black, sorry.
So
did I say red?
You said
no,
red.
No, not red. Black, I meant. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry, black.
That would have been something for Dean, just to have different kind of colors, so it would be easier just to get them. No,
No,
wouldn't matter.
it wouldn't matter to me.
So it's a real, cool app for lots of people to be interactive with. So if they're thinking of purchasing, and there we go, we've got the lenses. So the whole range of lenses, the 16 lenses we've got downstairs. So you can look at each one.
To be found either if you have a tablet PC or a
tablet
smartphone?
PC at the moment. It's for
Is there another
iOS.
way if you just want to have access with your computer regular?
Oh, go to our website. You can either go wherever you are in the world. We've got a global website which has a really comprehensive introduction to all our technology, including Lumix and camcorder. And you can go to whatever country you're in, their own portal for that country as well.
But it's just considered pretty much as a suggestion, because like most of the time, because I was quite surprised that some people use a tele lens for portraits, for example. Definitely something that hasn't really been.
Yeah,
this lens has been made for.
I did some portraits of some fans, that were dressed up in wigs and glasses and stuff like that, and I used the 45mm Leica lens that you guys, which is a beautiful lens. So. Again, it depends what you're looking for. Depends what kind of photography you want to do.
Also depends like who you're shooting at, because some people don't feel so comfortable having a camera right in front of their
Yeah,
face.
but I think, but for me, the stronger portraits are the ones where you're actually right. You're right there as well. It's very easy, and also I think that's the thing with using these cameras. They're not as intrusive, so you could get in personal with the subject, and it wouldn't feel like you're sort of invading their space, sort of thing. So I found that really.
That's what I thought. Like when you're a little bit further away from them, they might feel like definitely far more relaxed than when you're just up into their face.
Yeah,
it's a matter of how far you're used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, if you're using, if you've got a 1-300 or something like that, then fair enough. But for me personally, I like to engage with the subject, and I like to speak to them as well. You want to make them feel comfortable.
It's going to be difficult when you do something like a sport.
Well, that's something different, isn't it?
Hey, Phelps, swim a little bit faster so I can get a shot of you.
That's something completely different. this kind of stuff, was all shot. Most of it was shot in the longer lenses, so it just makes it. You want to get in on the action. But whereas if you want to speak, if you want to be, if you want to do a portrait of someone, like if I was going to do a portrait of you, I'd get something like a 45 or even a 25mm, the 25mm, and get in. Nice and close and personal.
We should try it later on, and then we could swipe and share it then on those kids.
That's a good idea.
Shot by Dean.
Your face on the big screen.
Yeah. Why
Perfect.
not? I'm going to be the next whale in our huge swipe and share aquarium. Here's a hot topic coming from Tobias, Susanna, and Eleonora. It's contrast autofocus.
Okay. If I could have
okay.
camera.
Contrast autofocus.
So obviously it's the camera is sophisticated enough to actually automatically do that. We've got something in all our cameras, including the G5 intelligent resolution. So
this will be too small for Dean, apparently, the GX one? No?
It's a completely different camera. I mean, Dean, if you can just kind of hold that, it's, let's say different camera, it's a different size camera. This is more of a retro feel to it, more of a maybe somebody, an enthusiast that wants to use it, whereas this is more towards a pro-end digital SLR-like body. But with this one, it's got a smaller grip. Again, you can fit all the lenses that we've covered as well on there. Similar sensor, but at the same time, similar technology. So if you're not familiar with ISO settings, lighting, and you probably experienced this, Dean, where you've got really difficult greens and shadows, say at a football stadium, where Dean may have the experience to actually work that out very, very quickly and get a fantastic shot. Anybody can then switch on intelligent resolution, and what that will actually do is soften the contrast and give you a more pleasurable, picture rather than a very harsh dark green and a light green. So it does all that for you. So with the focusing as well, that'll also obviously kick in. And so that's how sophisticated, I suppose, the intelligent side of the camera is to produce that at all levels.
Question to the professional. With all the experience that you do have, to which degree would you say, okay, this is the picture I intended to take to 100%? Because especially when a sports event, you don't know what the person is going to do within the next seconds. Is it going to run to the left or going to the right? But for you just to kind of know this might be a great shot. Well, when do you realize that?
It's difficult because I did a lot of the test events as well, like in last year and at the start of this year, just the test events they were testing the security, they were testing the quality of the surfaces of the tracks, all that kind of stuff. So, we have an idea of where you can go and what you can do, but things change. But it's different than, say, like football, where someone can score and run to a certain corner, or and you could be in the wrong corner and all that kind of thing. With things like athletics, someone's going to cross the line. Someone's going to where the finish line is. Roughly where someone's going to celebrate. But then again, things change. There was a race where there was a photographer around in a corner where no one else was sitting really, and everyone was sort of sitting in the first, in the initial pit. There's 100-meter line, and then there's a pit where all the photographers sit. And someone they'd come across, give it the big celebration, which obviously everyone loves. But he didn't celebrate. He ran all the way around and then started celebrating in front of, maybe had family members or something like that. So only one person got that shot. So it's you can't predict really what's going to happen. You've got an idea, and in your head you'd like to think, oh, I'll go here, this is where it's going to happen, but it always changes. So
but you still have to be focused. It's not that you just can push the IA button and just having a little chat.
No, not at all.
Afterwards,
not at all.
I mean, there's going to be a good picture with it.
The first thing I did with my cameras is turned off all the automatic settings. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I turned off.
Of course, you're allowed to say that.
I turned off all the automatic settings.
That's the reason you have these settings, just to make it far easier.
Yeah, so I would always use it on manual settings. I'd always manual expose. I would usually pre-focus as well.
Why would you do that? I mean, that's got to be.
I found it easier. So if I'd seen a shot, like of someone running that would, and there was a certain scene, a lot of my photos, you'll have the rings,
yes,
to place it. So you've got the athletics ring, the rings there. So I'd pre-focus on the rings, and then as the person would run into the frame, I would shoot it. So I found it easier for me just to focus, to frame the shot and then let the person run into the frame instead of always just trying to follow the action, because sometimes that would make it more difficult.
But is it that you have to use a burst then? Because
of course.
actually raises
the
chance to have a right one there.
You'd have to shoot it at a high shutter speed as well, because you'd want to freeze the action unless you were going for a blur, which I've done as well. So you do, like this kind of thing is a panning shot. So shot at like a 30th of a second. And you're following the action, you're just panning the action. This is shot at like a 30th of a second.
Some water drops on there?
Yeah, I mean, that was unintentional. That was just pouring rain on the day of the morning. The women's...
So apparently a good lens, which was waterproof.
Well, they weren't waterproof. You'd have the rain cover on, and then just as they were coming around, I'd take off all the stuff. So you take off... I had like a chamois. A chamois is another good little tip for all photographers. They always have a chamois in your bag. Like a chamois is like a dry cloth, like you dry the car.
Course.
So yeah, I always have one of them in the bag as well, just to keep your equipment nice and dry.
I just started with that exactly for that reason, because sometimes you just realize, maybe I shouldn't always use just my T-shirt or anything just to clean that up.
Exactly. So a chamois is a good thing to have in the bag always.
Continuing with the next question from Paul Chambers. I am going on a masterclass 2s at Kew Gardens. Is that in
Kew Gardens? Tuesday at Kew Gardens, yeah, that's in London, yes.
Using the G5, what lens would you recommend?
You don't
care, you have them all.
No, not at all. I would recommend, for flowers and that kind of thing, I'm guessing you're going to be looking for a macro lens. I mean, I'm stating the obvious here, but I would definitely go for something like a macro lens, or even a nice portrait lens.
Yeah, that's the Leica 45mm fixed macro lens. Absolutely.
Again,
very
nice
bright,
shallow depth, nice bright lens. So if it's a really grey day, you're going to still be able to sort of, drop that background right out. So it's I use the 45 a lot, the Leica lens.
Me too.
Everyone loves Leica.
I would use that effect that you just showed me yesterday. Just
the one-touch color.
Yeah, with the one-touch color.
Well, you could do that with the macro lens, any of the lenses as well. Yeah.
I mean, did you use any of the effects in the camera at all? Because you just said you turn into manual. Which one would you use?
I used I think on here it's called the miniature setting.
Yes, the miniature mode. Yeah.
Miniature mode, which is a tilt shift.
Tilt shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a traditional. Everything's out of focus apart from a certain plane of the whole of the. So when I did a wide shot of the.
So you were using like the touch screen.
This one here.
Whoa. Okay.
So everything's out of focus apart from the finish line. And I did there was a medal ceremony as well, which I shot from the top. And that was the same thing. I shot, everything else out of focus, and then just the emphasis is only on the athletes at the bottom. So that, I use that a lot, and not a lot. I use that, and I used the star filter as well, which is
we did that yesterday. With all the bright, sharp lights.
Of course, exactly.
So when you're in a stadium, and you have quite a lot of lights, and I think it works quite well. Again, with these effects for me personally. They're great to have. Yeah, they're great to have. They're great to have. You wouldn't use them all the time though. They're just not something that you would. You wouldn't just always leave a star filter on. You just wouldn't always use them in it. You'd always mix it up so your set of pictures has a variety of other little bits and pieces.
Yeah, but I believe in the beginning when you discover it, you're just going to take every single picture just with that fact until you just
get really excited by it.
That you just limit it to a certain. But Paul, by the way, thank you again for that question. It has been hopefully.
With Paul, I mean, if he wanted to use the G5, then he could use the miniature effect again with a flower or with a bed of flowers that he wants to emphasize one of the flowers on one of the flowers. He could focus on that and then blow the rest out without a focus on the rest. So you can use those effects for Paul.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Try that.
I'm with you there. I just have said the same thing. Tobias, I would like to know, do your interchangeable lenses only work for your mirrorless range of cameras?
No, they don't. We touched yesterday on we're able to use, for example, Olympus lenses and through adapters, other manufacturers such as Sigma. So you can Olympus, you can use Panasonic, and Panasonic you can use Olympus as well. So there is a mix with that. So you're not just isolated to just Panasonic. I think yesterday we kind of covered there's around roughly different brands, around 50 different lenses that you can actually use. So for all different types, so all different standards, so you can do that, vice versa.
Tobias, this is your answer. Continuing with Janine V, there was a picture up with runners in a marathon in front of Big Ben. How do you get that type of picture?
Okay.
Several in front of the
Big Ben. I did the women's marathon and the men's marathon, and I wanted to do them. I did the women's marathon there, and it was pouring rain. That's the men's marathon.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I did the women's marathon, and I didn't want to do the same shot with Big Ben, but when the women's marathon was on, it was pouring rain and it was miserable. And even though I got the rain shot, it's not, for me, it wasn't a great shot. So I wanted to show, showcase Big Ben. I mean, having the Olympics in London was an amazing experience, mainly due to the fact is you had
so many. Home?
No, not at all. I'm from Australia.
You're from Australia?
Yes.
But judging by your last name, you also have some Greek ancestors.
I have Greek family, yes. My Greek ancestry. But yes, I lived in London for 9 years, so it was a great city for the fact that you had so many iconic buildings. Horses Guard, the Mall, Buckingham Palace, the London Eye. You had all these iconic. I mean, you had so many iconic buildings. To set the scene, So
but you couldn't simply resist. You had to take them as well.
Well, of course, that's why they're there for, And the chief, the guy that was in charge of all the photographers there, his name's Bob Martin. He's a legend in sports photography world, and he was running. So he set up positions as well, so everyone could get iconic. You could get your iconic shots. So that made it easier. But back to the marathon question, I set up a wide angle for the women's marathon down low, so they could run past with a nice blur, with a slower shutter speed, and then they would fill the frame, and then I'd have the Big Ben at the back, and then the other one, I actually set up a remote camera. I don't know, can I mention the remote camera?
SD5?
It was a G5, and what I did was I had a special clamp. I don't know if you can see. I had a clamp, and it was sort of hanging upside down from a street sign. So then I'd flip the like this, flip it, and then I could flip the.
One of the advantages of having
so the camera was pretty much set up like this, and then I had so it was up high, and then I'd clamped it, and then I had a remote trigger, so I could actually fire it as they ran. So I framed it up, pre-focused on the bus stop. There was like a sign there where I knew they would run. And then, so then they'd run into the frame, and then I knew that as they were coming through, I fired it, and then they came a bit closer to me, and I took another photo, another frame, another angle of the same shot. So 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing.
So you see how handy it would have been if you would have had the same functionality as the SD5 with the wireless remote functions.
That is true.
I'm telling you, this is going to be one of... we were just referring because we have this SD5, which allows you also to control it via your smartphone.
Yeah, okay.
Which, to me, I mean, you have a lot of pervs who are like, oh yeah, then you can put the camera somewhere like in a ladies' locker. I just thought like, okay, maybe having a far better camera than the one that you have usually on your smartphone, and just also be able just to take shots of you and your friends and being in the shot and actually controlling it via a smartphone. For that situation that you just described, that would have been like totally perfect.
For sports, if I only know about sports photography, so I would say the same thing would be, if your son, again, going back to your son or daughter's athletics or gymnastics or whatever they're doing, you could leave the camera in a certain place where maybe you're not allowed to stand. So, maybe it's behind the goals at a football match or at gymnastics where you know that they're going to be jumping up and they're going to be trying something different, and you know that you can't stand there because you're going to be interfering in the play. So you'd leave the camera there, and then you can fire the camera. You could actually fire the camera when the person fills the frame. Pre-focus it and all that kind of thing.
I'm just saying it should be included within the next one. In between, we just have a poll. We always have some polls where we ask them questions.
Yeah.
And this time it was about I'm happiest when either I have a wide collection of lenses, just like you had while we were in the Olympics, or I have 1 or 2 specialist lenses, or I don't have to keep changing lenses. Apparently, most of them are quite happy not to change lenses, 44% to be exact, and that explains the success of the bridge cameras, because it seems that 44% are looking for exactly that.
Absolutely. And I think for a bridge camera that we've got at the moment, the FZ200, which is brand new, 24 times optical zoom, it goes from 25mm to 600mm in a compact body.
See, you wouldn't have to carry like 4 of them. You just had to carry one.
Well, I agree with them. I didn't have to change lenses either. I had 4 cameras with different lenses on them.
Okay, good.
So. But no, I mean, again, it's down to the individual, it's down to what the subject matter is, and it's down to where you are. And I think what's really key, what Dean is saying there, hanging a G5 suspended with, to get the shots, it just shows how compact, how easy it is to use, and you can get into some areas that you probably wouldn't be able to do with maybe, say, a larger camera. So
definitely
with really good picture quality, as you can see.
All right, then thank you, by the way, Janine, for the question prior, and I hope you won't get into an accident when you're trying to do the same thing as he did. Apparently, the time that you took the picture, that was not the ordinary traffic situation in London.
No, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure that you don't, the safety of the athletes is obviously the most important thing. So, the places that you set it up, you couldn't hang a lens over the course. You couldn't sort of stand in a position where, the athletes were going to run close. So you've got to be very careful and make sure that you don't break any laws or injure any athletes in the middle.
Well, and I bet the police would have been, excuse me, sir, do you mind? Coming to the next question from Giuseppe Lucantoni. Hello, I would like to know what are the differences between the objectives for lenses for the GF3 45-200 and 45-150.
So say that one again, sorry. So
for the GF3, the 45-200.
So the objectives.
Lenses.
So what's the difference between the 2 lenses?
Yeah.
Right. So currently the lens 45-200 is a lens that we've had for about just over a year. The 45-150 is brand new. So the difference is size, really, and the amount of aspherical lenses we've managed to cram into the unit. So you're getting, it's got nano-surface coating. So it's going to reduce blurring and ghosting effects, etc. But overall, the size is a lot smaller. But you've got just a slightly reduced focal length, but it's more compact. So on a G5 or a GX1 or a GF3, as what's the name of the person?
Giuseppe
has got, then the 45-150 would actually give you slightly better resolution, but a lot more compact on the body. So a lot more lightweight to carry around. So.
And this is your answer,
brand new
Giuseppe.
lens.
Grazie mille for that question. Continue. Well, I just presumed that he's Italian because of Giuseppe Lucantoni. Apparently he's like Hungarian, and he's like, oh, what is he talking about? Stephen O. would like to know, what sort of settings do you need to make for pictures that convey speed?
That convey speed.
Convey speed.
Okay.
What sort of settings do you convey?
I talked about it before briefly, was panning shots. So for certain things like panning shots,
Yeah.
up there, speed again. You're looking at under 100th of anything under a 60th of a 30th of a second. All the shots are just popping up as we're talking about it, which is quite handy. But
Or the horse.
yeah, the horse. So yeah, I would recommend anything a 30th. If you're panning, so what you want to do is you want to get your shutter speed at about a 30th of a second and follow the subject. Or again, if you want to lock the camera down or stable the camera, take your frame. If you've got like a nice scene and then you want to show the people moving in the scene, then again you'd shoot it at about a 30th of a second. Anything. It depends really on what look you're going for. You know, if you want to go something, if you have nice light, if the light allows, you can shoot up to a second, allow a second of movement. So you set the camera on a second, and then they'll run it, and you'll have a nice blur of a person or whatever the subject is. So anything under 100th of a second, if you want to do a panning, though. I know is panning. Everyone knows what panning is, don't they?
Not everyone, but that's why you're here, just to explain all of these.
So yeah, quickly, panning is just when you're following the action. You're just it's very popular for motorsport. So you'll see it a lot in motorsport where the background's all completely out of focus and the car itself is actually nice and sharp. So most of those guys would shoot it at about 30th to 45th of a second, if I can get it out properly.
I wouldn't have done it any different.
Exactly.
It's great just to pretend like, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. I have, no clue, but I'm just pretending to be quite savvy. Continuing with the question, thank you, Steve, by the way. Steve L., question for Dean. Did you mainly use the viewfinder or the LCD screen?
I used the viewfinder. I used the screen for remotes, or when there was a couple of shots where I'd grab the camera, and I'm not going to show you, but I'd put it on the floor, and then I could put the screen up, and then I would focus it. So, there was a couple of frames I got where I'd put it underneath a sign or the boarding, the Olympic boarding or anything like that. But most of the time I would use I seem to focus more and concentrate more when I'm looking through the viewfinder. So I would use this. This is how I was using it. I'd have my screen set up, and then I would have you can see here I can move my focal position, and then I would look through the shutter, and then I would use my thumb to control. I use my thumb to control where I wanted the subject to be, and then what I would do is I set up my button up here to auto lock the focus.
Oh.
So pretty much I would put my focal point where I wanted it to go, lock the focus, and then shoot. So that's how I would shoot always. That's all my cameras were set up. Every single camera that I had hanging off was set up like this. So pretty much as soon as I pick it up, I could go focus, lock, shoot. That's how I was doing it. So
good to know.
So yeah, LCD screen, good for, again, crowd. A good one actually, which the screen I actually used quite good, was for the marathon and for the road cycling, for the track. No, not for the track, for the road, the time trials. I had a monopod, and I put the camera up high above a crowd, and then I tilt the screen down. And so this is up high up in the air. Sorry, cameraman, I'm moving too fast, am I? All right.
No.
So yeah, I put the camera up on the monopod up nice and high, and then I had a trigger, the wide trigger that you can just get out over the counter, and then I'd have that. And so I was looking at the screen. I'd pre-focused it before I put it up on something in the distance, like roughly around the same distance as I was shooting, and then I was firing the camera from down low. So again, getting a different angle. So that's something else I did.
And if I can add to that as well, the features that Dean is showing there are brand new to the G5 as well. So when we now have a new sensor on the viewfinder, so as you bring your eye to the sensor, it kicks in. it then autofocuses immediately in the sensor at around 120 frames a second. So you get a really sharp autofocus in the actual viewfinder itself, and that touchpad that we call it, you can actually use it whilst you're looking through.
I think
it
I can
works
show
really,
that
really
if cameraman can show this. So yeah, as soon as you'd see the screen, then you put it's got a sensor here. So as soon as I put my face up to the thing, the camera would go off, the screen would go off. So that's how that works.
Yeah, it's a key feature.
Yeah. And thank you for that insight again,
No
Dean. Also, thank you, Steve, for that question. Continuing with a question from. It's like really, I'm just trying to really memorize everything that he tells me. It's like, okay, after that,
You can watch it back later.
okay, that would be great. Peter would like to know, how many different lenses does Panasonic make and sell? You said like there's a variety of 50 with all the adapters.
Yeah, Panasonic Lumix lenses are currently at the moment there's 16. So with future development there could be more, but 16 currently in the range as we speak. Panasonic Lumix.
Thank you, Peter, for your question. And here's the next one from. It's always full of excitement.
I know.
Oh, it's the question coming on, and here it is. Gemma would like to know what different accessories come with it.
Gemma.
Well,
with the G5, for example, you will get a AV cable. You'll get CD-ROM for instructions, etc.
CD-ROM?
Or DVD-ROM, DVD-ROM. You'll also get battery charger and cable, depending on what country you live in.
What lens do they come with?
Well, it varies. The lenses come as a kit with the 14-42 standard lens, and then the X lens, which is this one here, the 14-42 power zoom. So we went through this the other day about the difference in sizes, the difference in quality, and also there's depending on where you purchase around the globe, there's the 45-150 as well that comes with that. So that's as a kit itself, or you could buy it as body only as well. So
there's your info.
I would recommend this lens too, 12-35.
Yeah.
Beautiful lens. Very, very good lens. So that's the one. That's the lens. If you're going to buy one lens, I would recommend this because it's good for portraits, wide shots. It's good for a bit of everything.
Okay, thank you for this info as well, and thank you for that question. Continuing with a question from. It's pretty good. I got quite a long list of like new info that I got here and that I will use as soon as I'm home. Daspammer@yahoo.de has the G5 remote TTL. Would you be so kind and explain me what does TTL stand for?
I don't
TTL.
TTL?
TTL.
It has the remote TTL. That's got to do with a flash, doesn't it? That's what I thought. It's more flash orientated. It's like an automatic flash.
Has the G5 remote TTL?
Well, you know, the good old TTL.
I need more information as a question.
Yes, we'd need a bit more information on that.
Daspammer, please send us that question again and be more precise. What do you mean by the TTL? And now we're coming to the final question here. By Tobias. Tobias. I can obviously use other lenses with Panasonic cameras, but can I use Panasonic lenses on other cameras?
Yes, you can. You can. Yeah, you can use it on.
Does it have the same mount? You can use it on Olympus cameras.
You can use it. Also, Olympus. There are some other third party as well, but yeah, you're not just isolated to. You can't go and use it on, say, a digital SLR equivalent or anything like that because the mount is slightly different. So, yeah, you can. We use the GH2 with other lenses with different mounts for videography as well. So,
but it has to be checked with other brands
you have to
if
check,
they're offering like the adapter to their cameras.
Be careful when you check because then, obviously, as you're adding adapters, etc., then the autofocusing slightly changes and the features of the camera changes as well. So
you need to be aware of these options
you're
as well.
Not just limited.
Except when you're using everything in manual, then it doesn't matter. For Dean, it wouldn't be a problem because he goes into manual anyway.
Depends on the experience, I think.
All right, then thank you, Tobias, for this question. And last but not least, I would like to announce, if I do find, I announce the winner from yesterday's competition, and also coming up with a question for the latest one. Yesterday we wanted to know like how many tabletop speakers does the SCBTT 590 Full HD 3D Blu-ray disc home cinema system feature? Oh, that's a long name. The correct answer would have been a 4, and the winner is Fabio Neroni from Italy. So congratulations on that one, and enjoy your new home cinema system. As for today's question, where the prize, what a coincidence, is going to be a Lumix G5 compact camera. This could be yours, and you need to answer a question. The Lumix G5 is a lightweight camera with a built-in flash for extra mobility. How much does the compact system camera G5 weight? Have a good look, and then guess. But then again, nowadays you don't even need to guess, but just imagine you would guess right now, and then try to find out the right answer. Is it either approximately 396 grams, or is it B, approximately 693 grams? 396 or 693? Good luck with that, and by tomorrow we will then tell you who won. And once again, thanks, Mark, for being our expert here.
Thanks, Mark.
And also, thanks a lot, Dean, for all the inside. Enjoy your time at the Paralympics.
Thank you very much.
You off for tomorrow?
Yes, tonight, and start first thing tomorrow.
Till when are you going to be there? Till the end?
As long as till the end, till the closing ceremony.
But where is it that we want to be able just to see that the result of your photography at the Paralympics or any of
Panasonic?
that?
Yeah, whilst the Olympics are on, we were uploading Dean's photographs daily, so you can go to the Panasonic website, you can go to Lumix Lifestyle website as well, so they'll be updating daily through that. So, yeah.
There you go. So thank you for your attention, and see you again in the next hour for home appliance, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have any questions towards the home appliance, this is the place where you get all the answers. Once again, thanks to my experts, and see you later. Bye, Patrice Boudibila for Panasonic Live at IFA 2012.